Yo, what's going on? It is your boy Big D, and I feel absolutely lousy. Ain't gonna lie. I shouldn't even be out right now, but I am because I plan to do this video, and I needed to go get some stuff from the store to help with my condition. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's cold or it's a fever. I am sweating, so it's hard to tell. I just hope it goes away quickly. It was so bad that I missed fucking chest day. You know it's bad when it causes you to miss chest day. Because when you have upper respiratory issues, things of that nature, training chest is the last thing you want to be doing. And I ended up missing work. So I ended up following. I didn't get to watch the Eagles Giants game. I told you I wasn't going to be able to watch it, but I followed what the team was doing on Twitter. I checked out on Twitter and see what people were tweeting about. I mean, going into this game, the Eagles were in a win now situation. They were already in a win now situation a week ago, even though they lost to perhaps one of the worst teams in football. So they needed to bounce back. I mean, the Cowboys lost to the Bears. It's like the Cowboys can't keep handing us opportunities. One of these days, Dallas is going to get a victory. And it might be against us. But who's to say? But there's one glimmer of hope for the Eagles. They go into this game facing their beloved doormat from New York, Big Blue Waffle. The Eagles had five straight wins against this irrelevant franchise, and it looks like it's going to happen again. But of course, the Giants had other plans. It looked like yet another crappy game. I mean, people on Twitter were I mean, you have to understand, this is Eagles Twitter, and they're fucking stupid. A lot of Eagles Twitter are fucking retards. So, can't take what they say too seriously. I mean, the Giants scored first, 7-0. The Eagles answered with a field goal. And the next thing you know, the Giants answered with a field goal. By the way, our offense wasn't getting anything going. It looked flatter than a fucking map. Based on the tweets I've seen, I mean, I was in Jake Reynolds' live chat for a brief period. Teeny bit of Philly 500s for like a few seconds, but never actually stayed in there. But based on what Jake was saying, yeah, the team looked like it just didn't give a fuck and it just wasn't trying. And they were eventually down. Darius Slayton cooked our sorry secondary, especially Darby's weak ass. He's going to be gone after this season. They better not fucking re-sign him again. I was pissed when they re-signed him. But yeah, the Giants were up 17-3, and Giants were looking at there, I was like, oh man. Could this be the game we'll finally beat the Eagles after all these years? Could it really be? Well, whatever false hope, whatever enthusiasm the Giants had slowly dissipated. Eventually, starting the second half, the Eagles started getting things going. It took them a while, but they eventually got things going. And Boston Scott even had a hell of a game. He got into the end zone, punched it right in, and eventually, based on the tweets I saw, the Giants did not have an answer for Zach Ertz. They had trouble covering him all game. We had even more trouble covering Darius Slayton, but eventually we woke the fuck up. And eventually in the fourth quarter, like it was 17-10 for the third quarter and fourth. Neither offenses could get anything going after that, but eventually the Eagles were able to tie it up and get it down the field. Of course, there were some dumb mistakes committed by the Giants, and I went back. People on Twitter were bitching about how the refs missed a delay of game, which they did. I did go back and look at it, and it was on the play that Zach Ertz caught that game-tying touchdown. I'm like, oh man. As soon as I saw the Eagles tie that game, I'm like, oh no. I'm like, holy shit. The Giants are going to lose another game in heartbreaking fashion to Philly. It happens almost every fucking year. Almost every year. The Giants have a game that have a victory over Philly in the palm of their hands, and it just gets snatched right away from them. This almost looked like Miracle at the Meadowlands 2 or 3. There was a second one when Brian Westbrook returned that punt for a touchdown, but I don't know which one you would count as the second one. That or Deshaun Jackson, Michael Vick's comeback against them in 2010. A lot of times where the Giants had us beat and they have their hearts ripped out of them, and this was no exception. The Eagles played like shit all game, and then eventually they're right back in it. And the Eagles had an opportunity to kick the field goal at the end of regulation, but they don't do shit with the football, and it looked like Doug was playing for overtime. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was thinking to myself, shit. Oh, it was overtime. The Eagles have been bitten by overtime numerous times, losing the last 3 matchups. But the Eagles would get the ball first, and the Eagles just marched down the field with minimal resistance. Once again, they threw some good routes. They did some good stuff with Boston Scott. Eventually, Dallas Goedert got a wide open touchdown, and Boston Scott went up. And I believe Greg Ward had a first down after contact. I believe it was during the game-tying drive where Arcega-Whiteside had arguably the most impressive play by an Eagles receiver since Deshaun Jackson, where he actually knew how to track the damn football, something we've had issues with all season. But soon enough, they were in the single. I went back and looked at some highlights. I was able to do that. So they went back. Wentz was in the single back formation, and Ertz changed positions closer to the offensive line, and then he ran it. He was left wide. Zach Ertz was left wide open. Wentz recognized it immediately, and touchdown. Eagles escape with another one against New York. The Eagles look sloppy as hell, and yes, even though the Eagles won, there are things that we need to consider. The Eagles lost Alshon again. Dude was limping off the field. They lost Lane Johnson. They were going into this game with only 3 active receivers. How the hell do you go into a game like that? Oh, wait. Now I remember. The Eagles, it was another inferior opponent, and based on what's happened, the Eagles once again played down to their competition, but yet Wentz bailed the team out again. And New York is now staring at the status quo. Big Blue Waffle is to Philly what the Eagles are to Seattle and New Orleans. They cannot beat them. And now the Eagles lead the all-time series against the Giants for the first time in franchise history. Of course, not many people are going to give a shit about that, considering how the season's gone. I mean, I know a lot of people have checked out mentally, which is understandable. I'm now at the position where I just want to see this team win. I just want to see them win. I don't care how they do it. Just do it. Anyway. On to the Deadskins. Again, we should be able to beat them, but again, it's another inferior team, and we had some key injuries. It looked like I went back and saw the replay of Lane Johnson. It didn't look good. But anyway, I gotta get out of here. I gotta continue to rehabilitate myself so I can get back to work and so I can get back to doing what I love. Not being able to lift sucks dick. I hate this time of year because of this. I hate this time of year because of this reason right here. I remember I went 3 years without being sick, and now that streak came to an end last year when I had I don't even want to talk about what I had last year. I was like, if I put anything... Last year I had something a lot worse. I put something to my stomach and I immediately vomited. And I couldn't even sleep that night. I hope it's not this again. But anyway... I chatted long enough. I gotta get out of here. Sorry for this not being as exciting or uplifting or enthusiastic as it usually is. Because I really feel like shit. I really do. I shouldn't even be out, but I have to in order to get what I need to feel better. Anyway, y'all have a good one.